Welcome to the first round of the 1992 British Open Motocross Championship here at Canada Heights in Kent, where the Action Workshop Honda team of reigning champion Jeremy Whatley is unveiling the Honda Racing Corporation factory bikes leased from former world champion Eric Gabors less than 1 week earlier. Basically the same exotic machinery which carried Gabors to his 5th and final world title in 1990, the Hondas will be campaigned in 500 GPs and British Open competition by Whatley and the spectacular American Billy Liles. Whatley's works weapon receives a final checking over before the #1 plate holder, still recovering from ribs cracked at Beaucaire 3 weeks earlier, selects his spot on the starting line. Other hot contenders for the title include #2 Rob Herring on the 250cc Castrol Honda, and former 500 GP starlet #14 Mark Eastwood, now on a 250 Suzuki. And as the grid fills up and tension mounts, former champion Dave Thorpe's white Team Chinty Honda figures prominently in the foreground. The clock of the course gives the all clear, the 30-second board swivels to 5. Heads go down, elbows up, and throttles are nailed ready for the off. The gate drops and the field hurtles uphill into the first sweeping right-hand bend, on a Canada Heights course as fast, dry and smooth as anyone can remember it. Early pacemaker is 3 times former British champion Kurt NICHOL on his factory 500 KTM, pursued by another KTM in the hands of #9 Mark Banks and the HRC Honda of outlawed American Billy Liles, who, following protests from Thorpe and NICHOL concerning his eligibility for the British Open Series, has been allowed to start the race but not score points. Last year's runner-up Herring, #2, has started disastrously downfield as #59, promising ex-schoolboy star Kelly Swanson, retrieves his fallen Suzuki. At the front, NICHOL holds his lead as Banks comes under pressure from an angry Liles, incensed at what he sees as the childishness of his opponents. Liles rasps past Banks in pursuit of his, at least until today, good friend NICHOL. Suffolk star Banks is destined to fall back into an eventual 6th place behind the mercurial Rob Herring, who is launching another of his incredible comebacks on the Castrol Honda. Already he has passed and left #5, Dave Thorpe's Chinty Honda, the thundering 4-stroke CCM of #43, Perry Leask, and #21, 34-year-old Scottish veteran Willie Simpson, who has never missed a British Open Championship round since 1978. NICHOL, launching his KTM across a series of pounding ridges typical of the wooded Canada Heights track, finds Liles is getting uncomfortably close. Banks, meanwhile, has been caught by Jem Whatley's #1 Honda and the Kawasaki of Jared Smith. #17, Action Workshop's 3rd team member and 1992 Open Class revelation Warren Edwards, is also making ground. But here comes Herring, hurling his Honda past #15, Mitsui Yamaha's Matt Bates, who will be forced to retire suffering from a recent shoulder injury. "Come on," urges NICHOL's pit crew as they warn Kurt of Liles' charge. That gap hardly looks like 3 seconds now. An anxious Mick Aldous tells Jared Smith there are 10 minutes to go and Warren Edwards is closing fast. Mervyn Anstey on the Bike Sport Honda is also in the frame, with the amazing Herring now up to 8th and hot on his heels. The marauding midfielders pour through as Liles takes the lead, with NICHOL waving dismissively at the disappearing American, having apparently moved over and let Billy by. "Why should I race with him if he doesn't score any points?" seems to be NICHOL's perfectly sensible but somewhat unchivalrous attitude. For all his efforts, Liles, to all intents and purposes, doesn't exist in this race, and the checkered flag appears to hail a hard-ridden but hollow victory. NICHOL cruises home 2nd with the winner's bounty guaranteed. Defending champion Whatley, #1, reaches 3rd place, and Herring a fantastic 4th. "That's where I goofed," Rob Herring seems to be telling Paul Nalin as they await the 2nd moto. Thorpe, #5, a first race retirement, prepares his starting block for a much more successful 2nd outing. The gate drops again. 40 pounding back wheels kick up the dust into the first turn. And it is that man NICHOL who emerges in the lead, this time pursued by Thorpe and Liles, with Herring in a much healthier 8th place, setting the scene for a classic confrontation with the 2 experienced elder statesmen of British motocross, NICHOL and Thorpe, who between them share 8 British Open Championships. Kurt NICHOL, KTM, leads. Dave Thorpe's Chinty Honda second, and Billy Lyle's Action Workshop Honda third, with Rob Herring already scything through to fourth. Mervyn Anstey and Jared Smith are in spirited pursuit. The chase is on. Herring cleverly switches lines to outwit Thorpe, nipping through on the inside and instantly attacking NICHOL. But Kurt responds with a determined downhill plunge past the yellow flags. A Suzuki has fallen in the rutted right-hander at the bottom of the hill. He doesn't deter the leader's battle, but this is as close as Herring gets to the KTM. I picked up the pace when Rob arrived, says Kurt later. Thorpe, meantime, stays clear of Lyles for third. Kurt scores his second 20-point maximum, and this time it's for real. 17 points go to Herring for second place, and 15 to Thorpe for third, with defending champion Jem Whatley 9 disappointed places further back. Race 3 launches into action, but not for long. A dreadful accident befalls Midlander Jason Hewitt, who scored a point for 15th place in the first moto. Jason lies in the track with a broken leg. The red flag goes out and the race is stopped. The restart proves disastrous for Whatley as he slides off in a right-hand bend, leaving NICHOL a clear early leader from Dave Thorpe, Billy Lyles, Rob Meek and the day's surprise package Paul Luscombe, out of retirement on a Honda bought for him by his mates. Herring almost inevitably makes it through to second, but by this time NICHOL is well away to a third race win, and regardless of the slightly spurious circumstances, the KTM team leader claims a 3-moto maximum score. Reigning 125 and 250 champion Rob Herring on the Castrol Honda is runner-up, and Bike Sport Honda's swerving Mervyn Anstey third, with defending Open champion Whatley, who tore through the field in the third moto, fourth. Sadly, Billy Lyles, third overall on the track, is not invited to the victory podium where NICHOL unleashes the bubbly.